Ms. Perry, can we call the meeting to order, please? Mr. Hikes?
Here.
Ms. Hubbard?
Here.
Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Present.
President Cousins?
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion to approve December 2nd work session minutes.
I make a motion to approve, I'm sorry, December 2nd, work session minutes, December 2nd, 2024.
Second?
Any discussions? Ms. Perry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
President Cousins?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Is there a motion to approve December 10th minutes?
I make a motion to approve December 10th meeting, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussions? Ms. Perry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
President Cousins?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Is there a motion to approve January 14th minutes?
I make a motion to approve January 14th minutes, 2025.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussions? Ms. Perry?
Mr. Hikes?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, we have a question.
Okay.
Dr. Boardeshay?
I'm not sure of the page number, but under the communications section, the last sentence under communications, if a parent misses the registration deadline, transportation will still be available after March 28th. I'm not sure where that statement came from. If a parent misses the registration deadline, transportation will still be provided, but they would not fit within the priority window.
What should the correction be?
If a parent misses the registration deadline, transportation will still be provided. However, they will not this transportation would still be provided. Yes, it was the last sentence. Okay, so the answer is right on the next page.
Have the amendments been made? It's been moved and second with the amendments made. Any other corrections to the minutes? Ms. Perry?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
President Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Borshay for presentations.
Good evening. President Cousins, Vice President Davis, members of the board. We're going to start with an update. Ready? Okay, we're going to start with finance. We'll have Ms. Terry do our quarterly finance update. As you listen to Ms. Terry do the quarterly finance update, it's going to be important that we listen to the various terminology when it comes to projected, when it comes to estimate, when it comes to anticipated, as she does her presentation. I also want us to be mindful of the fact that we are talking about spending down our fund balance. Spending down our fund balance. Ms. Terry, our Executive Director and Treasurer for Finance.
Greetings, everyone. President Cousins, Vice President Davis, board members, and Dr. Barashade. I'll be sharing the second quarter financial update, which covers August through December. Listed are the district's strategic values. Our financial goals are aligned with our strategic values and will do so in support of our student goals. So our agenda includes the district's fund balance, trend, year-to-date revenues and expenditures, financial outlook, projected fund balances, audit update, and any additional questions. So this chart will show the trend of our operating fund balance. If you focus on 2023-24 projected, that is where we currently are. You will see that we are at 54.36%, and this number will be finalized after the annual financial audit is complete. So we are currently at 54.36, and that number is subject to change depending upon the audit findings. If you look at 2024, that is just budgeted. That is budgeted of where we would be at the year end of 2024, 2025. That's where we anticipate landing at 45.43%, which is still above the SLPS district of 30% for our fund balance maintenance.
And that is after we've spent that's after we've paid bills and spent money, that is where we will land.
Yeah.
That is what is,
The 45.43% is where we will land, budgeted to land. So, listed are the summary of revenues received to date. So we've received a portion of property and sales taxes, transportation, adult ed, special education, and Perkins. Those are just some of the revenues that we have received to date. So some of the expenditures are payroll expenditures. As you can see, what feeds into those expenditures, you'll see salary increases will be a part of those salary numbers, and benefits as well. And extra service, as you can see, as a result of the before and after school and Saturday school programs and initiatives, that is where you will see the impact to those salary lines. So for purchase services, as you can see, purchase services is the DESE category, but under those categories, we have different things such as instructional staffing services, which includes like professional development for the entire district. If we go down to transportation and food service, you see those expenses will reflect first student, that's our primary transportation provider. We know that we have multiple transportation vendors this year. However, that is that line that will reflect those, and as well as Chartwell Food Services. And we do have liquidated damages that we're anticipated to save that will be seen as a form of a reduction into the invoices that we pay out. And we have liquidated damages across all departments for various amounts. So one other thing I want to point out is under other professional services, you'll see RCI inventory. That supports one of the findings from the audit. So we have a fixed asset inventory that is currently being performed in the schools as we speak. So moving on to supplies and materials. So things that are categorized under supplies and materials, we have literacy for the LU initiative. So those books and supplies that we purchase for our students, our scholars, they are included in those line items, as well as things such as antivirus that we need to operate the school on a daily, and utilities. Moving forward to capital outlay, those are just things that are identified as greater than 5,000. So you'll have CTE equipment, which benefits our CTE department. We have the Chronos timekeeping software. That's what we use to clock in and out daily. And land, building, and other improvements, general contractor services that can tie back to Prop S funding. And also, we have short and long-term debt, which we are paying back administrative fees. So if you look at the chart that's on the screen now, this is just a reflection of our year-over-year revenues that we're projected to receive. If you look at the chart, you'll see that for the first quarter, we received about 20 million in revenue. The second quarter, we received 59 in revenue for a total of 80 million year-to-date in revenue, which is 18.1% of the original budget that we have received to date for revenue. What I will state about this is we definitely do see an uptick in quarter 2 and quarter 3 for receiving more revenue into the district. And that is why it's important for us to have a healthy fund balance so we can cover some of those expenses that are coming in that outweighs the revenues that we receive at a point in time. So the next chart will identify our expenditures for the second quarter. So for the first quarter, we had 74 million in expenditures. Second quarter, 129 million. So for a total of 204 million, we have spent about 35.4% of what we budgeted for the adopted budget for the year. So as you can see, that also lends to the fact why we should have a healthy fund balance. So, an attempt to explain the fund balance, if you look at FY 23-24, that's our projected fund balance of 231 million. Currently, we said we have 54.36%. We're only required by the state, by SLPS to maintain 30%. DESE, we've only required to maintain 3%. We are well above that amount. So if you look at the budgeted revenues against the budget expenditures, we do have fund balance spending. We're just spending down our fund balance, and that is the right thing to do. So the fund balance is subject to change based on the annual finalized audit. That is the audit that we have every year. So once those numbers are finalized, they could increase, they could decrease, but those are where we are right now based on our projections for the year. So just to give you a little bit of information about the audit updates. So some of the few things that we're working on are open items for construction in progress that we work in conjunction with our operation department. We have submitted those requirements to the auditors. We're just waiting for feedback from some of those items. They requested it, we sent it, now they're reviewing it, and they will provide updates. So for the unexpended grant balances, those are balances that we may have in a grant, and typically some of those balances roll over from year to year, so they're just confirming what those balances are. And open item for revenue testing, support, those are just samples that the auditors have pulled. Once they pull samples, we then have to track backwards to pull anything associated with those expenses to make sure they're all in alignment. And we are working very hard to give the auditors all of the information that we need. And also, we have one outstanding ESSER journal entry that needs to be entered, but we're pending input from the state on a few things with that. So that's basically where we are with the audit. We are attempting to get the things in and turned around as quickly as we can to the auditors. So the 2024-25 financial outlook, we are in a strong financial position. We have an anticipated unrestricted fund balance that I just reviewed, ending at $197 million. That's at about 45%. Again, I state that SLPS district, that's well above the 30% that is required and well above the 3% that DESI requires. So strategic financial planning for our budget. So we do have higher costs. We have higher payroll costs, which you can see on several slides back. I talked about the before and after school program, and I spoke about the higher salaries that the staff received. We have transportation costs that have risen, and we have special education costs that are on the rise as well as insurance. So some of those things are things that we are planning and looking at year over year. So planned fund balance spending will probably happen in 2025 and moving more in 2026 as well, and moving to a balanced budget in 26-27. So future concerns that we need to think about is open enrollment, vouchers, and state budget. Any questions? Okay, no questions. I will take my seat.
I have a couple. Sorry, I'm on Zoom. Just real quick, going back to the expenditures, I understand why quarter one is less than quarter two for things like salary, benefits. I assume you covers a portion of time where before school starts. But is there a reason for the capital outlay? Is that Prop S money,
That is
or
all.
is that
That is all funds, and that does include Prop S spending.
something else? Why that double?
You want? I think he froze.
He's actually on a train, so he's breaking up.
For the Prop S spending, I would have to run a report so I can drill down into it and provide those exact expenditures for Prop S. But we are spending Prop S money. We have to spend Prop S money, so that could account for the uptick in that capital outlay, because all Prop S projects are categorized as capital.
Secretary Jones.
My question was on your last topic of future concerns and under the topic of vouchers. What would you say the concern is as far as vouchers in our budget?
I think the concern with vouchers is that we would lose students. So student and potential student enrollment decline.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I see we talked about, or you talked about planned fund balance spending for 2025, 2026, and as Secretary Jones said, the voucher spending, the state budget, and I'm not sure if everyone listened to the state of the address by the governor today, and one of the things that was asked is about the one of the statements that was made was about the cut in transportation. And I think that we really need to look further and start focusing on how the district is going to deal with a lot of the cuts that are coming down the pipeline as a whole, regarding what what we're dealing with a lot of the cuts that are happening across the board. One in particular is transportation. Listening to what you've just spoke on, talking about open enrollment, talking about the state budget, what are we looking at? And this is probably not a question for you, this is probably a question for Dr. Bordershade and really everyone at the table. And keep in mind, this is a work session, so this is an open engagement type conversation for us all. But I think we all need to kind of look at where we're looking. We are in a good, healthy place as a district funding-wise, but I think we need to start addressing and focusing on how do we refocus our funding spending-wise. What are we going to look at, especially in regards to our schools? What are we going to look at in regards to how we're addressing the transportation? I want to absolutely commend you all on the steps that you've taken to address the transportation challenges that the district has faced, getting ahead of the game regarding the identifying the partners, whatever future partners we have, and ensuring the routing has been addressed in a different way than it has been before, because surely we're going to have to slash the transportation budget. We're going to have to slash how we're looking at our school system set up. So these are things that I will hope you're saying on the planned spending.
Yes.
But what other steps are we taking as a district to start focusing on things of that magnitude? Have we started focusing on that, or what are we looking at?
So this year, I believe, is an anomaly where we budgeted $40 million for transportation. And looking at what we've spent looking at trend spending in terms of what we've done in the past years, we've never spent $40 million on transportation. So we anticipate, when we have identified our new partners, that our transportation budget will be reduced. It will not be 40 million. The other thing is, when Ms. Terry did her presentation, it says planned fund balance spending in FY 2025 and FY 2026. And so, looking at our citywide blueprint, looking at the information that Cordick and Clark has shared with us, we will need to be looking at and reimagining what this needs to look like in the years to come, in the near future. And so I will be bringing a presentation at the next board meeting, sharing what that could look like.
And then a question that Vice President Davis was trying to ask, you were speaking in reference to the audit. I think the clarifying question was, which audit were you referring to? Are you referring to the Reuben Brown audit, or are you referring to the state audit?
My reference was to the Reuben Brown financial audit.
Okay, and so where does the district stand in reference to the Reuben Brown audit? Are we on time with that? Are we late, or what are we looking like with that?
So December 31st, 2024 was our deadline to submit and be. So we have another target, and the target now is March 31st, 2025. We meet twice a week with Reuben Brown to review open items on the list and to share an update. And in addition to those twice a week meetings, there's a meeting with me and the team so that we are able to submit the requested items. One of the things that we're noticing is that once we submit those items, there could be a question about a variance that has been identified. And so I'm saying all of that to say that we are meeting quite regularly with Reuben Brown to make sure that we meet the federal deadline of March 31st, 2025. We have an internal deadline, but we are meeting and meeting and meeting with Reuben Brown.
So on top of you meeting with Reuben Brown, dealing with the district audit that is a automatic required audit, you're also meeting with the state audit
Correct.
Correct.
and addressing those requests. How often is that?
So we haven't met with the state auditors, but we are currently receiving requests on, like, weekly. And we're fulfilling the requests by the state auditors that, so we're working both. It's really, difficult going back and forth, but we're working and trying to meet the deadline for both audits. And they're requesting some of the same information, but just in a different way.
Okay, and I want to also address, and let's talk about, and I think, Dr. Berry, this is probably going to bring you into this space as well. I think you all did a presentation prior presenting to the board and regarding the insurance, and I think you spoke on that, Ms. Terry. The increase in benefits in regards to the staff, the increase came almost double, is that safe to say, as opposed to before because of COVID, what happened prior to and now where we are in regards to COVID. So we factored that cost into where we are in the 2024, 25 budget, or is that?
I believe some of those costs were factored in, but it's constantly going back to it's a budget, and the budget can move.
So all of the costs have been factored
Yes.
in? Yes.
Yes. And it's a large increase in regards to what we're dealing with now.
Correct.
Okay, so, and that's not even looking at where we are in trying to negotiate the pension, the increase in the pension. And what we're trying to deal and work with negotiating the pension for the teachers as well.
That doesn't include that.
That does not include the pension. The pension, I believe, will impact 2026,
Okay,
the increase.
okay. Any other questions?
What is the ESSER journal entry? That sounds interesting.
So a journal entry is typically, we're trying to move some expenses off of ESSER to GLB. So that, the way that we're doing it, some of it is tied to payroll, so we just want to meet with the state to make sure that we're doing the journal entry the way that it's acceptable for the state. To move expenses from one funding source to another funding source. Oh, that's okay, yes, on the ledger.
So basically, within the next year or 2 years, the board, the district is going to be moving to having to make some really tough decisions.
Correct.
With how we're going to have to structurally and financially prepare for what's to come.
Correct.
Given where we are, I want to make sure people understand today, we had to go up to the state to testify on behalf of the district, again, because of what's been presented, that, the messaging, and I want to commend you on the way that you presented this, because I think the challenge is, I had a senator basically saying that we misplaced $35 million. And I do want to say, Dr. Moosey, I don't want to say his name wrong, with Desi Monsi, basically kind of presented it to say, that, you're doing an excellent job in working with Desi. Desi has done an excellent job, in my opinion, in trying to work with the district, and that you all are doing excellent when it comes to the healthy spending, the fund down, and what you're doing. But I think we need to really get with the reality of where we are in this time, where this state is, where this country is when it comes to public education, and really what is happening with how things are moving. If the voucher, which I think you stated, if the voucher happens, kids won't really have the option to go where they want to go, as people think. The effect that it will have on public education, I don't think people will realize, is that safe to say? Is what you're saying, because if that's the case, then a lot of our students who really need and want to go to the schools, they will have the ability, but the students that don't have those options will really kind of be left in the wind.
Yes.
Okay,
And there's only so many available seats anyway, so,
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
thank you.
I just want to close by saying, at the end of the day, we still have a healthy fund balance, and it is absolutely important that we spend down our fund balance.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move to academics, and that presentation will be done by Dr. Dino, our Chief of Schools. And as Dr. Dino is working through the presentations, you did receive a copy of the transformation plan, and there will be an assignment that we will engage in during the presentation. But we'll begin with our JAG program.
I'm sorry, Dr. Dino, before you go up, I'm sorry. Just so you all know for the record, Vice President Davis is on the train, so he can't really ask the questions. But the question that he did want to ask was, will the board need to approve the ESSER ledger changes? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, good evening, President Cousins, members of the board, Dr. Bordechade. I'm excited to come here again and give another academics update. In this update tonight, you will learn about some exciting programs like our JAG program, and all of our programs are centered on our SLPS strategic values. Our student success goals guide the work of the entire academic team. And tonight, again, you're going to get to hear from students and families that really embody all of our competencies of our portrait of a graduate. Our agenda for this evening is to learn about our Jobs for America's Graduates program, talk again about one of our other dual enrollment programs, this one at the Harrison Center in partnership with St. Louis Community College, and then we're going to start talking about our continuous school improvement plan, also known as Transformation Plan 4.0 currently. So the mission of Jobs for America's Graduates is to empower young people with skills and support they need to succeed in education, employment, and life. We have JAG programs at 3 of our high schools, Vashon, Roosevelt, and Sumner High School currently, and we have JAG specialists at each school that support students and equip them with the essential life skills, career readiness training, and personalized mentorship. Students are selected through a collaborative effort. Our focus is on 9th and 10th graders, getting them in as 9th and 10th graders so that we can help them stay on track towards graduation so that they can accomplish all of their post-secondary dreams. Our expected outcomes for implementing our JAG program include increased graduation rates, improving post-graduation success, enhanced employability, and the development of leadership and personal skills. I can't emphasize enough that in high schools, we want to make sure that we have a lot of options for students so that they can learn in the way that they want to learn and that equips them for the life they choose once they leave us. Some of our work experience activities with JAG are in, I know the font is really small, are in the area, students, in order to get work experience, have experience with professional development where they learn essential skills like writing resumes, how to request references, those types of soft skills for jobs. They are working on skilled trades projects, so I want to commend our operations department. We really collaborate closely. This year, they have been working on things like painting walls, prepping for painting, cleaning, other types of skilled trades things right with our SLPS employees that could lead possibly to a pipeline to employment post-graduation. That's only possible through the really good collaboration that we have across departments. And finally, community engagement is a key feature of the JAG program because students are part of our school communities and they are part of our city community, and we want to maintain all of those relationships and develop them over time. Now I'm going to invite Dr. Henning to the stage to help introduce our student and parent and teacher who are here to talk about our JAG program this evening. Dr. Henning.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Am proud to introduce our students. We actually have 2 students here from Vashon High School. Yes, that was the principal leading the clapping over there. And then we have our instructor here, Miss Shalonda Williams, Shalonda Williams, who's going to introduce the students, give you a little background. I will say one of our students actually came right from her basketball game. So they had a wonderful win, and she was like, okay, I'm on my way. So yeah, really exciting. Okay, Miss Williams.
All right, thank you. Good evening. My name is Shalonda Williams. I am the JAG specialist at Vashon High School. My mission is to educate, empower, and inspire our students to be the best version of themselves, and JAG has allowed me the platform to be more impactful than I've ever been before. For over 45 years, Jobs for America's Graduates has contributed to the success of students nationwide. When surveyed, 80% of high school students did not feel ready for the workforce, and 77% of employers agreed. JAG is focused on solving these challenges by incorporating project-based learning, trauma-informed care, and employer engagement to ensure the students acquire vital job skills, hands-on training, and a year of postgraduate support. With 98% of graduation rate nationwide, JAG students are career-ready with improved soft skills, including, but not limited to, communication, problem-solving, critical thinking, and teamwork. For SLPS, Sumner, Roosevelt, and Vashon's JAG programs are working to prepare our students for graduation and beyond by equipping them with the tools they need to thrive in the ever-changing world around them. In this first semester of JAG students at Vashon have created professional portfolios. They have explored career and educational options by attending industry events and field trips, inviting guest speakers, and collaborating with community partners such as Deluxe Magazine and the National Association of Black Journalists to ensure that students who are interested in career fields in media have working professional portfolios and published works before they graduate high school. We are also currently innovating the learning experience by bringing in the district's skilled tradesmen who have been working alongside our students to teach them valuable skills such as patching holes in the walls, prepping, painting, and painting their learning workspace as they explore these career options. They will also be learning to repair glass from our district's glazer, and valuable skills from our plumbers, electricians, and carpenters that will carry them for the rest of their lives. Today, we have a couple of students here to tell you about their firsthand experience with JAG. And first up, we have our Career Association President, Kira Burns, to share with you her experience.
Good evening, everybody. I want to just say that I briefly prepared my speech over there without knowing what they were going to say, and they said exactly what I said. So I'm going to, move through it. I am the Career Association President of JAG at Vashon High School. I want to tell you a little bit about what we do in JAG and what I've learned. I've learned how to properly format a resume and a cover letter, and the purpose of both. How to appropriately dress for interviews as well as speak fluently and communicate, enunciate all my words. Important one that we are just now learning how to calculate how much money I will receive after, regular hours and overtime hours so that nobody, messes with your money. That was very important. So thank you to her. JAG has put us in positions to learn about college and trade jobs. I'm not going to list it because she did. She has also helped us. She's putting us in positions to get into radio stations and work behind the camera or just public speaking in general. JAG is not, just only helping us with these helpful skills and tools, but also building our character. I feel like JAG has built my confidence and me learning how to speak in front of people and, talk like what I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but speak how I'm speaking right now. It has helped my critical thinking skills, building my integrity, how to be more responsible with everything that I'm doing, and then while also having fun. I would say I'm having a lot of fun in JAG. For my own personal experience, I have won an essay contest for JAG, the First Lady essay competition, where I got to go to the Jefferson City Capitol building and also tour the governor's mansion, as well as I was the SLPS Portrait of a Graduate newsletter member. And I was the one to have a published article in Deluxe magazine. It is called Liberating Connections: An Unforeseen Path to Healing. And it is also being published on the STLCC website, so you can check that out. And JAG has helped me to discover my passion for writing and pursue a career in journalism as well as English creative writing. So I would say JAG is an amazing program for children and to learn and grow. So thank you. Oh, wait. I think I was supposed to talk about. We'll get to that. Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right. And next up, I have Janasia Bailey coming to you from Vashon as well.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janasia, of course. Let's see. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
JAG is, I've learned a lot in JAG this school year. This is my first year here, so I've learned more this year in JAG than I've learned in like any of my other classes throughout the years. We've learned things like what Kira said, how to create a professional portfolio, like how to build a resume, cover letters, reference letters, and how to ace an interview. We've also have the best field trips where we would go like to other schools and trade, like, so they can show us. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we went to we go to field trips where we can get like hands-on experience to like other trades like welding, construction, drone piloting, and operating heavy machinery and other like interactive events. We also got we get other hands-on experience outside of our field trips, like when we did the wall painting for like students who would like to do that also. There's so much more to learn in JAG, not just from what I've said, like other worldwide things that get us prepared for our own career paths and options that we would like to do after we graduate.
Perfect. Thank you.
Let's see. It was more, but I'm having a brain fart.
Well, that's our presentation from Vashon's JAG chapter. If you guys have any questions,
Yes,
we would
we
love
do.
to answer.
So could the students come up, please? Kiara and Janasia. Janasia, how did you win?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Congratulations on that.
Thank
My other question, with you going through the JAG program, has it helped you identify your career path? Do you know what you're looking to do career-wise?
Well, I already had an idea of what I wanted to do before I started being in JAG, but she just gave me like the base of how to start and how to get to where I want to be.
So it's helped support you on your journey of what you want to do?
She basically just gave me more information of what I should do,
Okay. And what about you?
I would say that I had a different path in my mind, or it wasn't like set in my mind. So being in JAG and getting put out for the essay competition and getting a published article, it built my confidence to want to pursue my passion to be a writer. So I actually just now changed to journalism and creative writing. So yes.
Okay.
And we have space in our comms department.
So do you find yourself being a part of this program, like encouraging other classmates to want to be a part of the program?
I would say I'm not going to take the credit. I would say she, Miss Williams, like she's just this amazing person. So kids gravitate towards her. So it's like she has kids from every grade, every class just running to her to just talk about anything. So I wouldn't take any credit. I don't even have to talk. They're already there. So yeah.
Ms. Williams is very good at what she does.
Yeah.
She's very good at what she does. Great. Everybody loves Ms. Williams.
And Ms. Williams, I want to lean into you. I know, and I do want to commend and recognize Local 420 as well as JVL, the Alexanders. I can't quite remember their group.
Jeff Vanderloo.
Jeff Vanderloo, because I know, as well as recognize St. Louis Community College, because I know the Harrison Center was one of the projects that they actually kind of pushed for us to do the collaboration with. Could you tell me more about the utilization of the Harrison Center? Because I know that building sat there, but I'm sorry, is that Dr. Dino? I'm sorry, that's next. I pushed you in. I'm sorry, I moved a little too fast. But I did want to kind of commend you because it seems like because of this program, I've been hearing a lot of positive things about the JAG program and the momentum of the JAG program and the impact that it's actually had on the district. I like how, like you've said in the statement that's been made, that the kids have options. They're being exposed, the welding, things like that you don't normally hear about. We always push and talk about students going to college, which there's nothing wrong with that, but exposing them to other avenues and experiences of what they can do career-wise, I think that's an excellent idea and a job well done on your behalf, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other? Secretary Jones, I'm sorry. Secretary Jones.
Congratulations, ladies. I'm so proud of you all. I had a question about finance for the students. So how has your outlook changed in terms of banking and investments as you start to make money in the program?
Okay, just so I know what you're talking about, like program, are you saying?
Well, I mean, I know that you talked about money, for instance, how to, how much you're going to get on your check and what they're going to take out and that kind of thing. How has your perspective changed since you've been in the program in terms of money? What are you looking at?
I would say my financial literacy skills were absolutely shot. I didn't know anything about it. So, I mean, I'm a fast learner. So, I mean, I knew about credit card, debit card, just how that works. But I never knew that you could only work 40 hours and then you have to subtract the money or to subtract the hours out of the overtime. Then that's another payment, or like gross pay and net pay. I've learned about that. Yeah. So it's a lot that goes into it. I'm still not there. That's why I want to be a writer, not a finance person. But she has really helped me know, the difference between each thing. So yeah.
But I agree. And I will add that we have covered topics including how to calculate compound interest. We have also talked about credit scores and how to calculate principal times rate times time to get your interest rates and things like that when they're financing their first cars or computers, and how to identify whether or not to pay cash or to finance with credit, and what the difference will be as it relates to the rates of finance. So we covered that as well as budgeting as well. So the financial literacy piece is definitely there, and we are definitely covering it. It was one of our very early, and goal setting, SMART goals. So those are our very early topics that we kind of got away from into the second semester. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I just want to say I'm thrilled to have another English major. It's the best, but you might want to consider double majoring. And also, I would love to see, not to put more work on you, but if all of the programs are doing journalism, student journalism from SLPS about SLPS would be awesome. I would love to see that.
Can you talk about the deluxe magazine?
Yes. So my deluxe article actually came from an article, or no, not an article, an essay that I've written for STLCC dual enrollment class, and Ms. Williams took that and she put it out there for deluxe to, edit and revise it, and then that's how the initial process happened for me. So it was all because of STLCC.
Okay, cool. But I think we talk a lot about student voice, and I would love to hear more of y'all's, and especially the schools where y'all are, where JAG is. I think that would be really cool, but I don't want to put extra work on anybody.
Yeah, no, so about the, just getting journalism going for SLPS, I and my teacher decided to, kind of talk, like use a podcast, a school podcast to, bring light to SLPS or the students in the school, just finding kids that's not just athletes or just, fitting into societal norms and just giving them a area to talk and just be present and seen. So we've been working on that, and that's a thing that we want to get out for probably like next month or something like that. Yeah.
When it's time, please share with us.
Can we do just one more question?
Share the podcast with us when you're ready.
Got you.
I just want to say you guys are making a lot of people mad. I'm just being honest. Y'all are making a lot of people mad, especially when they said they love you. Our kids don't like our teachers. They don't like our teachers. They don't like y'all. But see,
In SLPS, we do.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? We have to showcase this. I'm sorry, we got to showcase this.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate the fact that you just not, you expanding the globe.
Yes.
You get into writing. Because I was blessed to be a construction worker. And I learned it at, I'm going to say it, Sumner. But you guys are expanding it.
Yes.
And so that just make it better. So we just got to get it into more schools. And I just want to say I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud to be on the school board of St. Louis Public Schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And honestly, this is good news for a change, especially from Vashon High School. Excellent work.
I agree.
We're definitely raising the bar. That is
Yes.
our goal. We
You
are
are
raising the bar.
excellent work. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
And
Thank
let's recognize Mr. Randall, the principal.
Yes.
Great job, Mr. Randall. Thank you.
Okay.
Great job. Thank you. Thank you, team.
Dr. Dino.
Great. That was a great segue. We are going to talk now about the Harrison Center and our collaboration with St. Louis Community College. As we saw at the last meeting where we highlighted our early college academy with Harris Stowe State University, today we're highlighting our connection with St. Louis Community College for the Harrison Education Center. Specifically, we began this partnership at the Harrison Center this fall. We have 14 students from Vashon who go and take, in the fall they took their English 101 class, and in the spring they're taking their English 102 class, so these are college level courses for students taking. It's our first cohort. They get to start their day at Vashon, walk over to the Harrison Center, come back and finish their day on those days. Unfortunately, the instructor wasn't available to come this evening because she teaches a night class, but I'm going to invite back to the stage Ms. Kira Burns because she's one of our students in the program at the Harrison Center, and she is really excited to share how that has made an impact on her. And before she comes up, I want to share, you asked about program expansion. We are looking at other ways to utilize the Harrison Center next year, possibly including things like cybersecurity, early childhood, business, all areas that our students at Vashon have expressed an interest in having more options towards. So thank you.
Well, I'm upset that I won't be here for that, but okay. Yes, so STLCC, I would say that having the opportunity to be at the Harrison Center was really good for me because in traditional classroom settings, it's really slow paced. You have to attend to every student. So it's easy for me to just be independent, but also holding myself accountable as well as my classmates. We have a group chat, we send each other, our assignments or whatever, but it's really good to just get the what's the word? Exposure, yes, to college work, and also, you know, just it's a nice load, but not too much to where you're stressing out. And they also have therapists and things like that that will help you, write-in centers and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I would say that I did pretty good for my first semester. I received an A. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, and I'm really growing on my writing skills. Like, I've learned how to not only just do regular narrative essays, but descriptive essays, critical response essays. So it's really, I would say it's a great opportunity for anybody that wants to, you know, try the early college experience. So yeah.
What did your parents think when you came and told them about this?
What, that I'm gonna be here today?
No.
Oh.
About the dual enrollment and.
Well, you know, my parents, they know what type of kid I am. I'm like, I don't want to brag on myself, but I am. I'm really
Brag on
smart.
yourself.
I learn really fast. So like, they were really excited for me to have the opportunity, because I was previously at Cardinal Ritter College Prep. So I wanted to do the full dual enrollment to where I would receive my associates and my high school diploma. I just missed the deadline. So this was a really great opportunity for me to have the still early college experience.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
You'll be an alum at Vashon, right? Yes. All righty. Vashon,
Yes.
St. Louis Public Schools, that's what we're talking about.
So the next, we will continue to highlight our dual enrollment programs with opportunities for students and their families and staff to come and share at each of our board meetings, because it's really important to showcase the hard work that our students are doing and the excellent partnerships that we have across the system. So we'll keep working on that. Now, I'd like to change gears to talking a little bit about our continuous school improvement plan. You have in front of you Transformation Plan 4.0. Dr. Borchade is showing it. Yep. So that is our current school improvement plan. It has been on file with DESE since 2023. Every school district goes through a cycle in which there are required, what they call uploads, so that we are revising our school improvement plans as we move forward. I say all of that to say we don't do that. We don't create school improvement plans because we're required to, but it's a great way to focus our efforts. You'll see on the screen in front of you too our 5 pillars. That is how we have been showcasing our goals and objectives throughout the course of this plan. And you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen here our Portrait of a Graduate competencies. So in 2022, SLPS adopted the Portrait of a Graduate competencies across our system, and when we talk with schools and you hear from students, that's what they really connect with, what being a portrait of a graduate is and what it means to them. If we were to ask students to talk to us about specific metrics and goals in the continuous school improvement plan, it doesn't resonate in the same way asking them, how have you learned to be a critical thinker? How are you becoming a change agent for our community? And so I highlight the portrait of a graduate here. Within our 5 pillars, we currently have 20 goals. So on the screen here, you'll see what those 5 pillars are. Creating a system of excellent schools, advancing fairness across the system, cultivate leaders who foster culture-responsive learning environments, ensuring students learn to read and succeed, growing community partners and resources that support the district's transformation plan. So those are our 5 big pillars, and within each of them are a different number of goals. So when you look at total, there's 20, remember, across 5, but they're not necessarily evenly spread out. Our first goal, creating a system of excellent school our first pillar, you'll see there are 4 goals here, and they range from reinforcing our advanced accreditation goals. All schools will earning a minimum of 70% on MSIP 6, the APR metrics. At our last board meeting, we highlighted all the growth that our schools were making, and those schools that had already hit that target. Go ahead.
And then at our next board meeting, we're going to be recognizing schools that have at least made the 2.5 growth. And so that is why it was so important to name that our schools need to make at least 2.5 years of growth, because in our transformation plan, in our CSIP, it was written back in 2022 that by 2025, all of our schools would be at the 70%. And at minimum, we need to be growing 2.5 years in order to hit that target.
You'll also see within this pillar, there are other non-academic goals, such as about maintaining our fund balance related to our Energy Star ratings in our buildings. This goal was encompassing of a lot of different areas within the school district. Pillar 2, and all of the goals there's 3 goals within Pillar 2 around fairness, removing barriers to help them access academic enrichment experiences, providing access to medical care to students through telehealth, and increasing the number of mental health partners. That was the goal in Pillar 2. Under Pillar 3, cultivating leaders, you will see it by June 30, 2025, developing a program to provide professional development to leaders, achieving annual retention rates of at least 85% of the teaching, providing coaching and support sessions, receiving training and support to implement restorative practice sessions. This is all related to cultivating leaders. Pillar 4 is around ensuring students learn to read and succeed. And to Dr. Bordeschade's point, we've set really audacious goals around 2.5 years worth of growth, because if we are going to make sure that every one of our students can meet their grade level standards and then go on to their post-secondary journey of choice, it has to start wherever they're at right now, and our growth trajectories need to be really steep. And so that's what we are working towards. We want a minimum of 90% of our PK scholars to demonstrate mastery of kindergarten readiness skills, because we know that the gaps just get wider the longer students stay in school if we don't plan for high quality instruction from the very beginning. We are hosting with our pre-K families just this week some sneak peeks at kindergarten so that they can get ready and do their priority registration, and that we are ready to hit the ground running with them as soon as they start school in the fall. Our Pillar 5 is around growing our community partners and resources, increasing the number of volunteers and mentors. You'll see that our CSIP is wide-ranging and has goals in many, many areas. So what are some of our next steps? Because it's not something that we want to just print and put on the shelf. We are gathering, in January, we've gathered input from building leaders and families about the Portrait of a Graduate descriptors. We have a team that includes teachers and principals and other staff across the district that are really committed to making sure that the Portrait of a Graduate is living and breathing and understood by everyone in our system. And we are gathering evidence related to these current goals. How have we been meeting the target? Because you'll see some of them were stair-stepped in different years. In February, we'll be ready to report out on evidence related to our current goals and begin gathering input from students and staff to analyze other feedback related to our Portrait of a Graduate descriptors. So you'll see this feedback cycle starting. It started in December and it continues. We worked with our parents at Parent University last week to get their feedback on what they want to see in the next iteration of our Portrait of a Graduate descriptors. We're going to begin some community cafe sessions in February where we talk about the pillars, we talk about the Portrait of a Graduate, because our Portrait of a Graduate is our North Star of where we want to go as a school district. We want everyone to know what can students expect. When I am a proud Vashon graduate from SLPS or Sumner graduate from SLPS, what does that mean? And that I know, and my parents know, and my teachers know, and our entire community knows what it means to be a change agent or collaborative or competent and a good communicator. So we will be continuing to work on gathering feedback on our CSIP pillars and the goals for community cafe sessions throughout the spring, and developing success criteria related to our portrait of a graduate descriptors. We'll be analyzing our community cafe feedback as we go along and deciding next steps for our CSIP revision. It's important that we review where we're at and set new targets for where we want to go. And that's part of the life cycle of continuous school improvement plans. Our schools have school level CSIPs called accountability plans, and then it will be important for us to make sure that everything is in alignment as we move forward. So at this point, this is your homework assignment, as Dr. Borchade mentioned. You have received an email in your inbox that has a CSIP feedback survey. It's the same CSIP feedback survey that our principals took in December, and it's the same one that we'll be using in our community cafe sessions. It might be helpful as you take the survey to utilize the Transformation Plan 4 document in front of you, and you also have a link in your email to all of our school accountability plans. There were just too many of them, and they're very long to print them all out, but they're there for your access. But the survey itself generally takes around 10 minutes to complete, although you can take as much time as you want. There's places where you can do some check boxes, and then other places for some narrative. Your feedback matters, our community's feedback matters, and so we're going to be taking every opportunity that we can over the course of the spring to gather feedback.
Thank you. I'll just ask that we make sure that we take the survey. That is to our board members. Thank you. 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Yes.
Any questions?
I just would like to say, once again, thank you. And I keep going back to this narrative because there's a lot of people out there who's saying we don't like our kids and we're not teaching our kids to read. And every time you come up here, I really appreciate you give them detail of what St. Louis Public School was trying to do to help our kids from pre-K to 12. So I just want you to know I appreciate you and thank you. And I want to thank all our teachers. I want them to know that they're appreciated. You know, because if you don't tell people they're appreciated, they stop doing what you would like them to do. So that's all I'm trying to do, okay? So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have an update as it relates to our transportation audit. I would like to share that there have been several audits that have been done in the past. We've had an HR audit, we've had a transportation audit, we've had technology audit. We're currently having a state audit, a Reuben Brown audit, you name it. We've audit. And so one of the things that is important is making sure that once we receive the findings from our audit, that we take a look at those findings and then report out on the accomplishments of the findings and then what are our next steps or what are our outstanding findings. And we have our Dr. Hubbard, who is going to be sharing where we are as it relates to our transportation audit. Thank you, Dr. Hubbard.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Yes, as Dr. Borchade said, I am Dr. Katrina Hubbard. This is my first work session meeting coming on board as the Director of Compliance and Internal Audit. I am happy to share with you basically an analysis of where we are based on our 2023 transportation audit findings and recommendations and the corrective actions that we have put in place. And I'm going to ask, do I do the slide? Okay, thank you. These are our preliminary slides that are our standards for St. Louis Public Schools. But our agenda for this presentation will be to look at a summary of the transportation audit observations, to look at the audit recommendations that were made, and then what we're doing as a district to meet those recommendations or to exceed those recommendations. Hopefully you all can see this. I tried to make it big enough. And I didn't want to read every bullet, but I will if you feel, I know this is a very important topic for the district. Okay, so some of the observations that were noted by the Council for Greater City Schools is that there was a lack of communication from our vendor to the parents, administration, and staff on the status of our transportation that we provide our children. The vendor itself was unprepared to provide adequate services, such as driver shortages, lack of driver accountability, lack of driver training, shortage of mechanics, and actually a shortage of actual buses for our needs. Bus safety issues, lack of inspections, garage equipment shortages, as well as driver checks weren't being done. Poor vendor oversight by our Department of Transportation at the time due to inadequate staffing levels. Inefficiency and excess costs, and that was partially due to the fact that the routing for transportation was done by the vendor, and not actually done by us in-house or by in a means that we could verify the information. And there was no evidence of interdepartmental annual route planning by district stakeholders. So we all know that there are different departments that need to be in on those conversations, and so that was not happening at the time. The buses were consistently late, dropping off and picking up our students. The routes were built on eligibility instead of actual ridership history, so there was excessive cost going on. We had a low threshold of performance penalties, or in fact, we weren't charging performance penalties to the transportation provider, even though that may have been in our contract at the time that we could. There was a lack of internal controls to monitor the key performance indicators of the bus company, insufficient technology, as well as for that particular audit, when additional requests for information was sent into the district, there was a lack of response after the on-site visit was had. So that's something that we'll definitely work with the teams to understand that just because the off-site visits are completed doesn't mean that our responsibilities have finished, as our finance team is very well aware. So in the audit, they recommended that we convene a task force immediately to do an extensive review of our vendor, the contract terms, safety, and other items, schedule meetings with the leadership of the bus vendor to discuss those concerns, engage in a comprehensive staffing study for the Department of Transportation to ensure that we have adequate manpower in the district in order to do everything that we need to do. We need succession planning and cross-training in our department. We need to prepare a business case justification for why our routing should be done in-house, or at least be very visible to us in-house. And develop a strategy to monitor our daily ridership metrics. Additional recommendations were for us to develop programs to measure customer and stakeholder satisfaction, establish an annual interdepartmental routing timeline committee, use prior year ridership figures, and allow for a 15% contingency. And again, this is the recommendation of the Council for Greater City Schools. So of course, we should look at our metrics and determine what our contingency plan should be for our district. Require any transportation policy exceptions be approved by the superintendent or a designee, and explore benefits of incorporating not only utilizing the performance penalties, but also incorporating performance incentives for bus vendors that are actually excelling in their service. Apparently that's a pretty common contract caveat. And enhance our contract administration by creating a central office function that monitors the best practices, the compliance, the contract, the fact that the bus vendor is meeting the contract requirements and meeting those deliverables. Okay, they suggested that we complete vendor performance evaluations and utilize that as rationale for whether we extend existing contracts, ensure that our employees attend and communicate often with special internal stakeholders, such as our Department of Special Education, and that we have a number of different departments that includes. Develop strategies to ensure that our buses are on time and implement better technology for bus tracking to track maintenance, track our students, to make sure they're getting on and off our buses in the appropriate places, and communication amongst the stakeholders. So, our Department of Transportation under our Chief Watson, who is our Chief of Operations, has been really busy. So this is what we have put in place, or we are in progress of doing, or we have completed. So first, there is a task force working diligently right now that includes a number of internal stakeholders to determine what we need from our next bus transportation vendor. And we are in that RFP process and looking to hopefully make that decision, bring it to the board in February, I believe. I'm getting ahead, not good. All right. Meeting was held with the leadership of the previous bus company, and they were requesting additional funding, didn't want to live up to the fact that there were compliance issues, service failures, so we went with another source for this school year. The current bus company, hopefully everyone understands, is not the bus company that this audit was conducted on. It was the one prior to First Student, which is what we're using now as a temporary gap measure. The staffing assessment was done for the Department of Transportation, or rather, the actual assessment is pending, but we do have a Director of Transportation, which is our contract compliance manager for the department. We have a transportation routing specialist, transportation field supervisor / compliance officer, and an assistant director of transportation currently. So we are gearing up our team to do what's best for our students. We have developed a standard operating procedure and cross-training for the members of that department. We've established, we have onboarded transportation routers, established training for the routers. We have monthly ridership counts that we're using to get actual rider data. And we are going to conduct frequent parent activity committee. Did I get that right? Okay, Parent Action Council meetings to discuss any transportation issues and to be able to survey our school administrators as well so that we can acknowledge any concerns. We've established quarterly meetings with routers and key staff from special education, McKinney-Vento, English language learners, and dispatchers from the Transportation Service Company to discuss and address any routing issues. We've extended our routing tiers to 65 minutes between each tier, and I believe we have 3 tiers at the moment. We've begun registration already for next school year, and we're requiring parents to opt into transportation so that we can get some valid and good numbers to start off with for next year. And we are very much, they're registering, so we've heard good numbers for it to have just started MLK Day, I believe, the day after MLK Day. We are in, the Transportation Department is exploring FRID cards so that we can have our students scan as they get on the buses and off the buses. And we've also increased our current performance penalties so that they cannot exceed $7,500 per calendar month. They used to be $5,000, and so we've increased that. We're having quarterly meetings, or we're going to have quarterly meetings with the vendors to inform them of district policy and contract compliance and any issues with that. The current contract does not include performance incentive opportunities, but as we said, we're in the RFP process for a new vendor. It may be in there for the new vendor, may not. I'm not sure because I'm not on that committee. There's no process in place right now to verify if assigned students are actually getting on the buses, other than the schools, reporting absences to their parents in the normal means. So if we are able to get that RFID process going, that will help with a great deal. And we're hoping that that will be included with whatever vendor we go with next year. The prior contract did not define what constitutes a bus accident or incident, but of course we know that now, and that will be something that's addressed in the new contract. Our current provider has passed all Missouri State inspections, and there's a field trip tracking software that's been addressed to allow for district personnel to receive confirmations once a field trip has been approved and submitted and approved for one of our schools. So we have access now to the GPS software and the parent portal tracking system that First Student utilizes. We don't have operational cost data at this time for them, but when we conduct our performance review, I'm sure we'll ask for that information. We did have meetings with, and when I say we, I'm saying our Department of Transportation, but we're all SLPS, so. We did have meetings with our special education department, students in transition, and our English language learners prior to the first day of school this year, and we're receiving a nightly update on from our student information system regarding statistics on student attendance at this point. On-time bus arrival remains at about 85%, and so we are in the process of pursuing liquidated damages as a result. Because our goal is higher than that. We've been in engagement with administrators, with the company, and the vendors, the subcontractors that we're using, and parents to gather information to ensure that we are, of course, keeping what's best for our students in mind as we move forward for next year. I'm going to skip that next statement because it's at the very end. DOT will conduct a risk assessment and develop a contingency framework. That is in the works at this moment. That was one of the recommendations. And the department chief will review and update the job descriptions for our positions that we filled for future reference, because there was a note in the audit that there was, for instance, one of the requirements for our Department of Transportation head was to have a degree in geology. The auditors didn't feel that was an appropriate degree, which, so we will be working on the job descriptions for those positions as well. The audit pulled out the fact that we don't respond, or we weren't responding to the auditors after the visit. What that third bullet simply states is that the Department of Transportation has implemented a plan to send follow-up emails to the staff when there's outstanding items, such as what finance has been doing, meeting every couple of days for that audit. So I did want to point out, because I had the opportunity to sit in a meeting for our transportation potential candidates. 99% of our concerns that were mentioned in the 2023 audit can be resolved if we choose a quality vendor for our students. So while this is a backwards look at how we were doing in the past, I'm encouraged as the auditor for the district that once we choose the proper vendor, then we will have a lot of the infrastructure, the leadership, the tools that we need in order to do what's best for our kids in our schools. So, any questions?
All I want to say is I talked to a parent, and she was just discussing with me about communication. So I would just told her I would just translate the message. I would just like us to do the best job as possible when communicating with the parents. And you see how I phrased that?
Agreed.
The best job as possible.
Agreed.
But I just want her to know, she's out there, that she brought it to me,
And
and
you
I'm
brought
bringing
it.
it to you all.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Any other questions on the recap of the transportation audit?
I just want to say that another avenue that the parent can use according to our corrective actions is meeting or joining or attending the PAC meetings to share, because I'm sure that there are a lot of spaces and opportunities where that answer could be provided in there, in that space. I'm curious about this performance incentive that we would
I
be
mean-
giving to our partners.
The auditors were simply stating that some districts have performance incentive in their contracts with bus vendors to award them for doing and meeting our contractual agreements and exceeding those agreements. So it's not a requirement, but it's a way to incentivize a vendor to strive to be excellent.
I'm also curious about this on-time arrival remains at 85%.
Yes, that is what it is currently.
That is what we're stating, or that is what it is?
Chief Watson?
That's currently the information that was reported out by our vendor, that their on-time percentage is 85%.
Okay, I would like the record to show that what is being reported and what is actually happening is not accurate. It is not 85%.
You believe it's lower than that?
It is absolutely lower than that.
Okay. And that still isn't what our goal is. So.
Our goal is 100%.
Right,
You
but
know,
it's 95% as like a minimum.
Yeah, it's
And-
important that our kids get to school every day on time.
Yes, it is.
Each and every day. So, I mean, it would be nice to say that it's 85%, but that is not the truth.
Thank you.
Square, is that just the one big vendor, or does that include all the little ones too?
So we get data from all of our vendors, but what's reported out by the transportation provider that gives us the majority and runs the majority of our services, they reported out 85%.
In regard to Board Member Hike's question or statement with the parent saying communication, do we still have the component where they can call in for questions in-house, or how is that set up? If they're having challenges regarding transportation, or I know at some point they were calling the bus company, like First Student themselves, but do they still have the call?
So,
number to call?
yeah, so depending on the provider, they have two contacts. One would be the bus provider that's providing them the service or the alternative modes of transportation. And we also have a call center that we're establishing and building within the district. So part of the conversations that we're having with HR as we build our infrastructure will include expanding our call center so that we'll be able to respond to those calls in-house.
So, or do we still have that, or is that, what's the status of that at this point?
So currently we have temp service workers in that space, but we're looking to bring on permanent staff.
Okay. And is that information posted anywhere, or how would a parent know, you know, to still utilize those services?
So we give information out in terms of the numbers to call or contact. It's on our website. In addition to that, they could always call our transportation department. I believe it's area code 314-633-5107, and we will be able to direct them to the appropriate, to answer their calls.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. Are we done? Is there any questions regarding the consent agenda?
I would just like to ask that we put the 02-11-25-16 that's about the St. Louis University student practicum placements, that we put that on new business. Take it out of the consent agenda, because I would like to vote for the consent agenda and abstain on that.
This is just a review on the consent agenda.
And, yeah,
Okay.
I'm just
Any other-
saying we can do, we can make a note of that.
What number was that? Could you recall that number again? What number was that?
02-11-25-16.
Any other questions regarding the consent agenda? All right, we're gonna go into board members' report. I'm sorry. We're gonna go into the board members' report.
Is Matt gonna do governance, or should I?
Is Vice President Davis still on? It's on you, Board Member Hubbard. It's on you.
Okay. The governance committee has been meeting regularly.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We have, I think we've gotten to updated financial policy that we will get to vote on for in our next business meeting. We've also talked about whistleblower policy. We're going to have an agenda that is structured differently with some standing items that should help our meetings run a lot smoother. Thank you, Dr. Borchardt, for that. And our next meeting is the week after next at noon here.
And Board Member Hubbard, I'm sorry, I didn't see Mr. Schultz is here to do your finance policy update.
Please
As
come
part of
up,
the
Mr.
governance-
Schultz.
I'm sorry, I didn't see
He thought he was getting away with it.
I didn't see him over there in the corner until I looked on the agenda. My apologies. But thank you for that part of the report. But now we'll have Mr. Schultz provide us an update. As part of what Board Member Hubbard was saying, the Governance Committee has been meeting, and as she stated, we'll be doing a regular governance report. And part of that is, as Board Member Hubbard has stated, we will be having regular governance report, and part of that, as part of the finance policies, they have been working diligently, and they have the part of the finance policies that they have been updating. So Mr. Schultz is going to provide us the status of where they are. They meaning the district.
There you go. I'm learning every day. So let me start again. Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, members of the board, Superintendent Borchardt. My name is Tim Schultz, and I work in operations, and this project was I was going to say I had the pleasure of doing this, and it has been quite fascinating to me, I'm not going to lie. A little bit of the background. There we go. Many of our SLPS policies have not been updated in a significant amount of time, and so there was a desire among the board to revamp our policies and procedures, bring them in line with current statutes, and just bring them in line with what we are doing around. And our finance policies were the first policies that we selected for our reviews. Some of the finance policies that needed policy or a procedure were topics such as petty cash, the audit process, federal programs, political campaigns, depositing of funds, and other fiscal accounting procedures. So the work that we did, we partnered with the Missouri School Board Association, or MSBA, to review and update our policies. They took our current policies and they integrated them into MSBA standard policies, and they sent them back to us for a review. The team was comprised of district staff and Board of Education members. We held several meetings, usually every other week, over the course of a couple of months, in addition to the governance meetings, where we sat down, we read the policies, we looked at the current statutes, we looked at our previous policies, we looked at the additions, and we came together as a team to make adjustments and enhance the revisions of the policies. We, like I said earlier, we engaged the governance committee for review and input. We have sent the final edits off to MSBA. We expect to receive those back by the end of the week. And then the next steps would be for the governance committee to review the finalized policies. They will be then brought before the board, and the board will have the opportunity to review and pass the policies should they choose to do that. And then I was told today in a meeting that I had with MSBA that they are about ready to send out the next batch of documents to us. They did not give me the title of those, but they are on their way here soon. So more work for us to do.
Any questions from Mr. Tim?
I just want to say that it is incredibly important that the finance policies are reviewed, because they will guide the work and provide the guide rails for what happens in St. Louis Public Schools as it relates to our finance. So now is the time to review them, discuss, make suggestions, so that when we go for approval, we can approve them and move forward.
Okay, now Board Member Hubbard. I'm sorry, any other questions for Mr. Schultz? Thank you, sir. Now, Board Member Hubbard, you can let us know when the next governance committee meeting is and close us out in regards to the governance.
Okay. Our next meeting should be not this week, but next week on Friday at noon, probably right here in this room. Friday the 14th. Yes.
I think Mr. Davis is back on.
Yeah,
Oh, am I saying it wrong?
Emily did a great job. So yeah, that's where we are. I want to thank Mr. Schultz for taking the lead on this and all of the team on the finance. One question for Mr. Schultz, kind of Dr. Borshed's point. You had mentioned, I think in our last meeting, that while we'll have the finance policies pretty much in place and ready to go, that this will be an ongoing review. So there'll be some items that will need to come back to the board for updates just on the finance part. Is that accurate?
That is correct, yes. There are some policies that we have and procedures that we have in place that we are looking to phase out by June. And then at the beginning of next year, July, we will have to come back and edit those policies where we have made changes. That is correct.
Oh, one thing I wanted to add, sorry, Matt.
Oh, go ahead.
Once we've approved these policies, they will be accessible to the public through our new board management system, which is Diligent Community. So it hopefully will work a whole lot better than the old way the policy was available.
Anything else, Vice President Davis?
Nope. Thank you.
And for the record, the next governance meeting is Friday, January 31st at noon. So that's what's on my calendar. You have it on your calendar? Any other reports? Any other reports? Go ahead, Board Member Hikes.
This weekend, I went to the Missouri School Board Association meeting, and they said the same thing we've been saying over and over and over. The legislation aspect of our state don't like public schools. Vouchers and school choice is all they talking about. So you're gonna be hearing this over and over again until somebody catch get in their head that public schools they're at war with public schools.
Thank you for that report, Board Member Hikes. Is there any other reports?
I do want to name that our governance committee meeting is on the 7th of February, not the 31st. Thank you.
Can I just say thank you to President Cousins and Dr. Borshade for going to Jefferson City and being there during the education committee. I listened to it until I had to go to class, and I was very thankful that y'all were there. And I'm so sorry that you had to go.
I'm sorry, I just got a text message that my dog is dying. Okay. I need a motion to adjourn, to go into closed session.
I make a motion to adjourn open session and go into closed session.
Ms. Perry?
Second. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sorry. Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Jones? Yes. Mr. Davis?
Yes.
President Cousins?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.
Move to adjourn closed session.